upon completing Mass Effect, we have started Mass Effect 2.
Doesn't Mass Effect 2 feel like a real video game by comparison to Mass Effect 1?
I'll say this, and I'm looking at Legendary Edition, so I don't know how much the visual stuff is improved and such, but like
It's not. Mass Effect 2 barely got touched. Mass Effect 1 got a significant
the
cleanup.
glow up is strong. The glow up is very, very strong right off the bat, and the big set piece it opens on is like waving it's
great.
waving the money in your face, showing you like, hey, we're spending the money, but also like here is like 3 or 4 celebrity voice actors in like the first half an hour. you know, yeah, you got your Steve Bloom immediately into what's his name, um, um, old man, Martin Sheen, and then
Right.
Martin Sheen right into Trinity.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Man,
okay.
Martin Sheen is like Martin Sheening all over that game.
He's like he I don't think you hear him like he does not pronounce the H in humanity. He says humanity.
Yeah, that's
he's
right.
just old man voicing it. Yeah, good old Timmy. And so that is a very interesting start as well. So with that, and I'm curious as to I'm curious as to your input on this. I want to know what you think.
Here, hit me.
So, I announced long ago that we're gonna be. I wanted to start Mass Effect 2 because I never played it. Originally, I was going to play that with Little V, but since we're not doing that, I kind of went, oh, okay, here's an opportunity. Reggie's going to jump on for part 1, and then I'll jump on for part 2, and that way I can play it, and Reggie will get up to speed and not be lost.
You played Mass Effect 1 near-ish its release, right?
Exactly, yeah, way back when. So as a result of that, Reggie's insanity in playing has created a very unique, wild run of this game, which understandably folks are like, oh, we really want to see it go through to 2. But I'm like, I really want to play this game. I've wanted to for a long time, and I don't want my first time experiencing it to be side saddle. I think that's an understandable thing. Like, we only played it so that I could do this, right? So I'm taking over, and I'm continuing, and and I also wanted a really great opportunity to get a different Shep in there so that we can see like what the Jen Hale readings are like and what that
totally
version of the
different
game is.
You could probably already tell. You could probably already feel it.
I played FemShep in my run originally back in the day.
It's crazy, right? It's like a completely different fucking character. Good.
I've never seen the male Shep one, so that contrast I thought was really cool. Blue Shepherd has been introduced to the world.
Of course. All right. Of course.
Right.
Of course.
So that being said, right, I already kind of knew that going into this, there was like, it sucks because if I had just played it, went right to 2 and whatever, it wouldn't be in the situation. But there's like a bit of a damper in the air as a result of like not continuing the same save file over from some folks.
Okay, so I need details on exactly what is happening here. You played Mass Effect 1 yourself off camera in the near recent past?
Not near recent.
Oh, this is your ancient file?
No. Well,
okay.
I played...
What are you carrying forward here?
I'm carrying forward... So, okay, basically, I was going to just create a new character in Mass Effect 2 and then do the quick selection, right?
Yeah, okay.
So, I have learned a lot about Mass Effect, like back, save stuff going on and that I didn't know of. I was kind of just gonna
do anything you goddamn want with that shit.
So I was just gonna go forward normally. But what I found out was that if you just create a quick character with the past of the quick selections in Mass Effect 2, it
doesn't actually flag any of the good shit.
Every side quest that you've completed in 1 will not exist, and those people won't be in the game, and you'll miss out on that content. That sucks. So, basically, because of that, right, Asuna, who's been again really helpful, has and helped out with the KOTOR 2 experience as well. Basically said I can make you a like hacked save file for all those choices so that you don't miss out on those characters.
And did you tell them what the choices that you wanted were for each thing? Because
precisely.
Okay, so I fully support that 100%. There is, how do I put this? Oh my god.
So there's more. There's more, but go on because there's other stuff.
Do you remember the Matriarch's writing quest?
Dillanaga's writings found in a Publisac was one of the intros, one of the titles of an episode.
Okay, so that carries through, and there's a quest you can only complete in Mass Effect 3 if you completed that in 1 and carried it forward.
Very interesting.
Like, it's you are discovering what might be the best player retention technology I've ever seen in my life, which is Mass Effect 1 and 2 come out, and there's the suicide mission and all that. And everyone suddenly discovers that if they want to do Renegade or Paragon or any variation, what they need to do is go back and like 100% each game multiple times.
Yikes.
In order to ready save files up for what they want to do in 3. And then when 3 came out, it's like, is it the end of the world that you didn't get all of the Matriarch's writings? No. Do you feel super, super great that somebody goes, oh, I'd actually need this stupid old Asari writing, I'd never get it, and you get to go, actually,
okay, well,
I picked up a couple some years ago.
So, I mean, the thing is I would assume, though, that like when you're building a series forward, you're going to go back and try to make little, you know, hey, remember this hook, that hook, you know, little bits and pieces. So, that is stuff that, yeah, so I basically went, okay, mirror the choices that were done in the LP for the most part, and here's a couple things I want different, right?
Okay, so, yeah, Mass Effect 3 is a fascinating game. I think we might have briefly mentioned it, called Shepherd with No Friends or something like that, an LP series in which somebody goes through Mass Effect and just tries to make as few friends as possible, and kill everyone they can kill and all that. Mass Effect 3, under those circumstances, completely falls apart. Like, the game's plot doesn't even really make sense anymore.
Well,
and as a result, it's this weird thing where it's like, Paragon or Renegade are absolutely, totally viable options no matter which you can. Except for the fact that Paragon Shepard has so many more people to hang out with in all these tribute moments and action sequences and parties, and has all this extra custom dialogue for when you're hanging, like, you know?
Well, even finding out about how, like, since your dialogue options are no longer hooked up to your charisma attributes, like your intimidate and your charm, it's now just going raw off your Paragon and Renegade. That means that mixing and matching or not sticking to one is gonna punish you, right?
Yeah, it's crazy how people were like, I don't know about this dialogue system in KOTOR 1.
Yeah.
And every game they ever made after it, like, was like, no, pick one.
Right.
Pick one.
That sucks because in Mass Effect 1, that like insane fucking seesaw Shepard was like, it was interesting to see how it plays out when you can just jump from one to the other. In this case, I've heard that Legendary Edition actually allows you to be a little more flexible. So
it is a little cleaner, it's a little calmer. I think what happens is there's a skill, there's a level up skill that you can get which juices your Renegade and Paragon points by some percentage. I feel like it's whatever your class skill is. I feel like that got buffed to be a little stronger, and they toned down a lot of the thresholds. Probably, and you only get to this when you get to 3. But by far the biggest change they made to 3 was mechanically, and what happened was is that you have to have your war readiness above a certain number. You're basically building up the Dragon Age, like get everybody together kind of thing in the background. But there weren't enough points to get the really good ending inside Mass Effect 3 at all until the DLC came out. So it was like, well, go play multiplayer to earn war readiness points if you really want the good ending.
Oh boy. Okay. Yikes.
So for Legendary, what they did, because the multiplayer isn't in the fucking game, they had made it so that they added a bunch of situations where all your carryover stuff. So whether or not you hung out with somebody in Mass Effect 2 and you trust them and they'll help you out, all of those now feed into that system. Mm-hmm. And so if you were to start Mass Effect 3 raw, yeah, you're going to have a hard time getting a decent ending.
Gotcha.
But if you actually went through the series and even attempted some form of completeness, you end up like kind of drowning in points by the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Now, hearing a lot of people saying the multiplayer is good, though, is like, yeah, that's cool, but that's not the point. That's the
bummer. Yeah.
That's not the point. The point is that you shouldn't have to jump out of your single player.
The bummer, though, is that like people, when they saw Legendary Edition, were actually excited to go back to playing that multiplayer, but since the multiplayer wasn't going to be monetized the same, they didn't include it. But like Mass Effect 3's multiplayer was actually great because you got to play as a Solarian. You got to play as a Krogan. You got to play as almost every alien race that you could think of.
Okay, almost like in Metal Gear, where you can like play as the different types of soldiers and stuff as well. Yeah, interesting. Okay,
like there were Volus that you could fucking play as in that multiplayer.
Wow. Okay. Well, so anyway, so that's what we did. So we imported a save, and that's going right. So that was one of the suggestions for like you know, what would be like a good run. So there's a bunch of other suggestions as well, including just like bug fixes, you know, hair issues overall. There's literally a way to crouch. I didn't know crouching was gone from the game, but there's a way to put it back into the game.
There's Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 is this interesting, it's this form of game development that I don't particularly agree with, which is people going, man, I don't know about cooldown system for the guns in Mass Effect 1. Could you make that better? And the response is, we can make it better by removing it. I don't know about the inventory system in Mass Effect 1. Could you guys like make that easier to navigate? Gone! Yeah. No more inventory!
Crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that goes onward again into 3. And like Mass Effect 1 is an RPG. Mass Effect 3 is a fucking shooter. It's actually fairly close in feel to Dead Space.
Huh. You're just moving forward, and your build is not as much of a up in the air to your liking. Interesting. Well, so yeah, that was the thing. The gun class restrictions were open as well, so ability to use any type of gun was one of the mods that was turned on and that was recommended, and then the one that is the topic here certainly is I basically got a description of like how combat had changed, and that now there were like unique Shepard skills that were not shared by the rest of the teams. So the idea was essentially like, oh, well, you could do something that would be a class that gave you the unique Shepard skills instead of the ones that your team could do, and then you'd be playing like a kind of unique job, Shepard.
Yeah, Spectre.
Right.
Spectre Shepard.
So it's like, oh, okay, sure. And I didn't really think twice about it. I'm like, that sounds cool, I guess. Yeah. And I had also heard about how certainly people are like very, you know, attached to their classes and their abilities and the ways that you play, because it's a very identifying thing about Shepard in these games, especially 2 going forward. So for the most part, that seems to be something that seems like a cool idea. But I guess I was a bit surprised because there's a lot of when we streamed it at the very least, a higher than usual amount of people were pretty negative on the idea, and they thought essentially that like that was too much, and that it would kind of bust the experience with the game. I then went like, oh, okay, I thought it would be fine, more or less, and then I got an explanation that it is still not that big of a deal. But either way, this is just the preemptive feeling about it, and I've seen it kind of lead to, in fact, I saw a couple of people going, between that and the whole like save carryover thing, I'm just not even going to watch this. And I'm like, oh, I don't want that response. That sucks, because it's a really hype game. So I've kind of I've had two minds about it, and I've come to a pseudo conclusion, but I'm curious what you think.
So I don't know the skills. If you actually have the mod list, I can look it over while talking about this, or not the mod list, but like the class mod that you're describing. I would not have any personal issue or in 2, because the combat in 2 is fairly simple. In 3, they actually went like pretty far out of their way to emphasize the difference between the classes and the way cooldowns work. And like, I played a Vanguard in that game, and Vanguards in Mass Effect 3 don't shoot their guns. They play like Dragon Ball characters.
You charge. That charge shit is cool.
No. I like Vanguard in 3 specifically. You charge, but then you start doing like shockwaves and energy blasts.
Interesting.
And like shooting your gun is
so
right.
I got
for
someone
2. Whatever.
I saw a repeating thing was in 3 the combat is really good and it's unique. Don't like leave
absolutely
that as is. Yeah.
I would agree with that.
And I think it was something about how when you use enough like biotic abilities back to back, there's a pop that like pays off that you can combo together.
you can basically tag enemies with biotic, and then you can pop the biotic with a different biotic. But a character like Vanguard can do that by themselves. It's supposed to be a team synergy thing, but Shepard can just do it by himself.
Okay. But in this case with 2, it's like, just going in with the unique Shepard abilities, and that means that the team would have the tech and the biotic and the the regular stuff that I would like, have to coordinate with them, and then Shepard is just like a unique Shepard or so. Now, this is all anticipatory because, as we discuss this right now, the first episode has not gone live on YouTube yet. It's about to tonight. Once it does, I'm expecting to see the proportional amount of feedback that's going to hit.
So, I'm going to tell you right now, the Mass Effect 2 and 3 LPs that I did, were like the most backseaty, infuriating ones I've done in like 3 years.
Wow.
Really? I would put it on the. I would put it right. I would put it as the live streaming equivalent of how you and I felt going through Dark Souls 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really not sure why, but people started to kind of go nuts, particularly in 3, the way I was playing in a backseating way, that I was like repeatedly like gaslit that people were going nuts about the difficulty setting.
Okay.
And that like hard is the new normal.
That's come up a bit. I got DMs
which
about
is
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah.
And I spent like maybe the first 20-30% of that game on hard and was like, yeah, no, I'm super pissed off and frustrated this whole time. And my response by the end of it was to put it to tell me a story, Shepard difficulty, and just absolutely steam shitting my way through like all of it.
Well, I read that, and I got the message from someone describing that, and I went, you know what? I'm just gonna play it on normal, and I'll see how I'm doing, and then I'll make a decision later. Because fortunately, you don't have to get locked in.
So here's what I believe happened. these games got played a lot.
Hmm.
That like the choice stuff as represented a thing where there were people that had gone through Mass Effect 1 and 2 maybe 5 or 6 times to get their save files ready, and then they get Mass Effect 3, and
Right.
then they went through Mass Effect 3 4 or 5 times because the class gameplay was actually really interesting. As a result of that, I'm going to say the average person who played those games figured out a way to absolutely bust that shit open by the end of it. Like, if you know how to build Garrus in 3, Garrus can beat the fucking game for you.
Hmm.
Um, but people are coming into, like, it was actually the first time I played 3, and this will be the first time you play 2 and 3. You don't know any of that shit. You don't have 11 years of replaying the game every 1 or 2 years
I didn't even
to bust it all open.
I didn't know that like ability remixing would be even a big deal.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, oh, that's a probably a unique way to play it. Okay, sure.
So you know
And
what it
so many of
reminds.
these games that like also like get modded a lot and regular. Sometimes there's stuff where it's just like, oh yeah, aggressive modding is like how this is expected, or you know, I don't know. I'm just coming in going, let's see what you know.
So
I'm taking recommendations, right? So
I have a perfect way to explain this in a context that you're more familiar with, because I was going to use like Infinity Engine games like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 or Pillars, where you go, hey guys, I'm starting out, what's a good build? And somebody throws like the most min-maxed shit in the world at you that includes items you can only get in the back 30% of the game as part of the build. You're like, what the fuck is this? No, let's talk about fucking Force Lightning, right? And the way people, I've gone through KOTOR 1 like 3 or 4 times. Hey, guess what? All of the Force abilities are super broken, not just Force Lightning. The stuns that stun everyone in the room the whole time, yeah, those are incredible. But when you start, people that have beaten KOTOR 1 6 times are well aware that if you build a character a certain way and then go Force Lightning, that's the most optimal way to go it. And so they go crazy demanding that you do it the most meta way. And Mass Effect is kind of like that as well, where, well, what, you're going to put a machine gun on Garrus, right? And then you're going to give him this ability for the armor piercing, right? Obviously. I'm like, I don't know. I haven't opened up his skill menu yet.
Okay, there's a million ways to break it, but these are the most broken ways that are preferred.
Yeah, and also I can't see you getting to a point with Mass Effect 2 or 3 that you can't clear it no matter how you build your character.
Okay.
Like,
okay. Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna see. I'm just noting the vibe I got initially was just like, oh, really?
Yeah, enjoy the vibe.
And it's the 1-2 of the import save plus that kind of, you know, is I guess just you know, and anyway, eliciting some of that feeling. But the thought I was kind of coming to, because I did see again more discussion about like, oh, maybe you know, like difficulty could like balance that out or so, and then the kind of conclusion I went to was like, well, fortunately, I was also told that like this is something that can be updated or pulled in or pulled out without fucking up the save in any way. So
yeah,
if I ever did want to change it in some way, it wouldn't at all like kill progress, you know?
I'll tell you what, the save editors that people built back in the day to fuck with the Mass Effect saves are incredible. You can fuck with those mid fucking session.
Crazy. Seems really impressive. I literally just I had my save updated because the imported character had weird lipstick and makeup on that I didn't want, and I just had the save updated to remove that. So like it's pretty impressive. And like the ME tools like installer for mods is a whole verified sub like third party thing. It's crazy. I was very impressed with how organized that entire thing was. So yeah, but my thought was like, okay, let me just see how this goes, I guess, and get a feel for it, because again, I'm just like, as someone who's
okay, so Dead Asana sent me the skill thing that you got going on. Oh, I understand what you're doing there. Okay, you basically have the fun ability off of like 4 or 5 of the classes.
So it's the unique Shepherd stuff that
Yeah,
the others can't do.
because nobody else gets to do charge,
Right.
tactical cloak,
Without the drone,
etc.
I think. No drone, but like the
Yeah, no, the
engineering
drone
one.
would be that might actually break things if you put the drone in.
Okay.
No, there's no problem with that because in Mass Effect 2, you're playing a character, and the unique thing is the unique class skill that you have given the thing.
Yeah.
That actually looks great because it means you get to fuck around with Vanguard's charge, which is the only reason to play Vanguard because that's a blast. But you also get the invisibility and stuff like that.
So essentially, one of the things was that one of the major points that sounded interesting was the idea that like instead of having to run multiple intros and characters in each class to get a feel for what that ability would be like, you get to just experience all the unique Shepherd stuff in one run, and that way you get a like content driven.
Yeah, the reason why that doesn't really work for 3 is because most of the classes have a bunch of unique Shepherd stuff. It doesn't translate along a single skill.
So I like the idea of like, you know, seeing again like what these unique abilities are and seeing which ones are my favorite. And yeah, we'll you know, the first episode is going to come out. We'll see how it goes and how that's received. But I am down to just like continue going if this feels cool and things are more or less like adequate. I'm also I can also look at this as a way to see which abilities I like more than others and like, you know, use that as a like a nice test drive and then like make modifications later on. But ultimately,
I will say
ultimately
sorry.
I'm taking your conclusion on this that it's like it matters way more in 3 than it does here. Yeah. Okay.
100%. So I would like to put something in that the fact that Mass Effect 3 plays so much better kind of causes a weird situation. Mass Effect 3 does play a lot better, and they wanted it to appeal to more casual fans or shooter fans, and it absolutely did. And there is an issue here, and the issue is that when you're talking about Mass Effect 1 and 2, and we spent the majority of the time talking about Mass Effect 1 and 2 today, talking about gameplay and the way classes work. I don't care about that shit when I play Mass Effect 1 and 2. The reason why I played Mass Effect 1 and 2 and 3 is because I wanted to learn weird shit about a bunch of fucking stupid aliens.
The conversation. That's what Reggie was saying too.
That's what the game is like actually about. You go to a planet and there's a bunch of drunk aliens arguing about some drunk alien shit, and you're like, oh wow, I never thought about space strippers or whatever, and you're like, cool.
Yeah, Reggie's takeaway was basically like, yo, who cares? It's all about the conversation and the characters. This doesn't matter, you know? Like, just have fun with it.
So the reason why it gets strange, the reason why it gets strange about 3 is because, and this is my biggest problem with Mass Effect 3, is that you go to the Asari homeworld in Mass Effect 3, right? You go to the Krogan homeworld in Mass Effect 3, right? You're going all these spots that you wanted to go to, right? And you know what you're doing there? You're fighting a big battle and leaving. Yeah, you know what? I didn't want to see Thessia as a battleground. I wanted to go hang out with a bunch of Asari people and go to their Capitol building and talk to them about their space government.
About their life. Yeah.
Right? And so as a result, Mass Effect 3 is a big war, and it's like, but I don't care about the big war. I care about going and hanging out in a bar with a Hanar and talking about, can a Hanar even drink booze? I don't know.
How does it work? Right. Yeah, so, I mean, the one thing that I'll say, well, not the one thing, but, like, what I do understand is, like, a part of what I do and what I've been doing for the last, you know, era of the era of WoolieVersus is that I'm going back to beloved classics to see kind of, like, what's so beloved about them. You know, that's part of what's going on. And I can understand the perspective of like, you're like, well, if it's a beloved classic and this is the way it was experienced and you're not getting that experience, you're getting something that's going to be overpowered and it's going to like ruin what we had back in the day. I can understand that point of view about it. But I also I mean, to be perfectly honest, like it was like there's a lot that I don't know about that I'm not aware of, but like there's a pretty lengthy description as well about why you're still super vulnerable and you can still totally die, and why you're not going to be able to just steamroll everything even having all of this stuff. And as I suspect, if I fucking charge into a room full of enemies and then I kill one, I'm still standing and getting lit up by the rest of them.
Well, welcome to the Vanguard lifestyle.
Yeah, so the idea essentially being that it's like the overpowered concern is not actually going to be that much of a concern.
No, it's definitely not.
Then I guess it it doesn't seem perhaps that bad. And I know for sure that like even if it was, I'm somebody whose my aiming is not going to make the best of that ability. You know, my fucking I'm swinging that shit around using time stop as a lifesaver on my aiming because dear God, this is why I just
playing
these games.
I just remembered the one thing I forgot to say. Hey, the Mako controls like shit. Can you improve it? Gone.
Okay, so this is one of those moments where because again, on the outside, there's some feelings of like, oh yeah, so there's some planning probing mini game, mod that shit out, don't even do it, right? And everyone's on board with that. There is no controversy. 10 out of 10 people vote, get that shit out of there. And it's
I installed a mod in my game so that I would just ping the planet and would instantly give me every resource.
So it might go that way. I'm gonna do the thing to see it.
Yeah. You need to feel the frustration before
I've done it a little bit, but I already really don't like the flying the ship around gas system either.
Yeah.
That's a knockdown from just scanning the map and selecting things. Because I just want to look at a planet for data.
The Mako controlled like fucking shit, right? But like complete removal of rolling around on planets legitimately sucks.
It just, if it was less frequent and a little less dry, like when you're using the Mako on Bring Down the Sky, it's an engaging, scripted, but like driven thing. You're having fun with it, you know. In the main missions, it's fine as well. It's just the empty planets that you're scraping nothing for like half an hour.
I think what's really funny is in the DLC they said, hey, you know, you guys missed Mako mission, so we gave you the Hammerhead mission. It's like a tank, so it controls better than the Mako. And while it does technically control better than the Mako, the missions associated with the Hammerhead are unironically the worst shit in all three games.
Damn.
They are fucking terrible.
Dang. Okay. Well, yeah, in some cases, the streamlining stuff like seems like an improvement. In other cases, it seems like removal is just like
you didn't have to throw the whole thing away.
Baby out with the bathwater. I mean, ammo types, I'm gonna wait and see, but it's an ability now that the characters have, and I'm like, huh. So like, flame ammo is just a thing that I use on one
of the
Jacob or whatever, right? Like,
one of the best abilities any character that has that ammo has. Because, hey, do you want to just shred ammo? You want to shred? Oh, man. You know what? You've met Jacob. Fine. We can talk about this shit. Stop putting humans on the ship at all. Like, God.
Default romantic choices for you.
I'm so... Fuck. Like... The only one that's decent at all is fucking Vega in 3. But, like, every single... Oh, here's the human teammates. Oh, cool. Who fucking gives a shit?
I am having the weirdest experience with this intro because Jacob appears to be like the Caden type, you know?
He is.
That's introduced. He aggressively looks like my brother.
Oh, yeah?
Aggressively.
Okay.
So I guess we're not going that way. That's weird. Yeah. I was like, huh, I've there's a whole, to be honest, the loading screen for that game has like fucking 15 characters, and I'm just like, that is so many people. What is happening? And then like when you go to land on a planet and you see all those spots, I was like, oh my god, this is so many. This is twice the size of the team in fucking one. Wild. Anyway, yeah.
I'm having like.
Hold it back if you have to hold it back.
Okay, so I just have one thing, to ask you. Are you confirming to me right now that you absolutely, positively will not be smooching it up with Jacob?
I mean, unless something really wild happens in this LP.
I don't think that's.
But I've not set my eyes on him, nor have I known about. I don't know about the new characters too much, with the exception of Jack, who people have told me that's a Woolie character
people like Jack
for years.
Yeah.
So I know what Jack looks like, but every other new character I don't really know.
So the bummer,
but that's not who I've been thinking about.
There's this bummer that there's a fun mod that you can put in, which literally just turns off the gender flags for romance.
Yeah. I heard about that.
And I wanted to use it, but I was concerned that it would just break Mass Effect 3.
Okay. There's people are freaking out. Whatever it is, hold it back. I'm going to ask you to hold it back.
You're going to see people start to get super, super nuts around this time about characters.
Okay.
Mass Effect 2 was the first game I ever encountered that was made by a Western developer in which I saw multiple people taking photos of having dinner at their computer with fan art of Garrus or Tally having dinner with them. Right? Like it is like it's where people started to just really, really go crazy.
Interesting. We got to that level, did we? Huh. I mean,
and the takeaway from seeing those is that Jacob was never on the other side of that screen.
I see. Is there a percentage like chart out there for like most popular and least popular partners and choices?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Telltale style. Okay.
Yeah, somewhere 8% of players across all 3 games went Renegade, which led them to the situation where they're like, seems like we actually wasted a lot of time and money making Renegade at all.
Interesting.
Which I would agree with.
Okay, so the thing is, though, admittedly, as we say in the KOTOR choices, it's not about being a Sith that kills everyone immediately as soon as the conversation starts. It's about agreeing to the quest and then betraying them later.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, that's what's so disappointing about Renegade and Mass Effect.
When the Renegade choice, the Renegade choice in the first fucking 10 minutes is just like, blow this crazy person away. Just shoot him in the back of the head. We ain't got time for this shit. I'm like, Jesus, can we find a middle ground between not Paragon and not shooting him in the head? You know? I'm like, can I lean in and then yes and it into something Renegade?
It's very, very strange because the Renegades are, I've told you this before, but the Renegades are different in each game in that Renegade in 1 is a dirty cop and does anything for the mission. Renegade in 2 is like a almost violent action hero,
right?
And Renegade in 3 is like a war criminal, like a monster.
Okay, so based on the introduction of 2, you can hypothetically say that your newfound lease on life also is a newfound lease on morality.
Oh, absolutely. It's a perfect setup for that.
It's an excuse to be able to go that far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I'd be in a bad mood if what happened to me in Mass Effect 2 happened.
Yeah. Well,
it's rough.
I also I do like how if you are doing what 91% of players do, and you are playing a Paragon, and you are doing it, let's say, like you're trying to be lawful good. If your life is owed entirely RoboCop style to like a corrupt organization, but in this case now it's black market shit. You owe your big lawful good life to black market. What now? You know, are you going to do the lawful thing and delete yourself again? You know what I mean? Like, you weren't brought back under legal and, you know, upstanding council terms. So it's a nice, like, I guess, like, oh shit, I guess the world is not
now,
so
I will
black
tell you
and
one
white.
thing, and I'm sure Deadass actually seems to be a great resource for this, but I will tell you myself, is that in Mass Effect 2, they start the prompt system, which is outside
Yes.
of the usual dialogue system.
R2.
You're going to want to really think long and hard about maybe doing every prompt you see ever. Because, like, I played
Good rewards.
100% goody two-shoes, but when that red prompt comes up to just blow a dude away in the middle of his conversation, ooh, ooh, ooh.
I mean, look, here's what I will say is, and people are very on the edge of their seats, and who knows what's going to happen, but I'll say this. Blue is not red. These are different people. But at the same time, like, Reggie and I have had arguments mid-conversation as if it's literally inside the character's head, where it's just like, oh, what would red do here? Oh, is that what you want to do? Okay, well, blue doesn't like that. You know? So that little interplay is already pretty fun. And we'll see what fucking happens, man. You know? I want to know. You know what? I won't spoil.
Yeah. I'm in this weird space, particularly with Mass Effect, especially since I refreshed it for myself. Are you familiar with that XKCD comic in which they describe playing every video game 7 to 10 years after release? So they are all fixed and they all run great and everything's great, except there's just one problem, and then a character bursts on the scene and goes, "Oh my god, guys, the cake is a lie!" and starts singing the fucking Portal song.
Yeah.
So, like, you are straight up 15 years removed from some dank memes that you are about to engage in. And I gotta say, I'm excited.
This is the point of my channel. It's become the entire purpose, is just digging through the attic, pulling out these fucking Xbox 360 cases, with you know, and like breaking the GameStop seal on them.
Should we have played these games back on their release? Yeah, you know what? That might have been a good idea. But barring that,
here we are,
almost 20 years later.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes till later today. But
so I will say, like, talking about Mass Effect 3 and the combat and all this stuff, I'm just like, man, you know what I want Mass Effect 4 to be? I want Mass Effect 4 to take place on the Citadel, and you are a fucking Turian CSEC officer who's investigating a series of, like, anti-human murders, and there is no combat, and you have 28 fucking stats that tell you what to do. Like, there is absolutely no reason that this universe needs to have shooting in it at all.
Yeah, the fact that what I know about Andromeda is that it's a million light years away in a completely new place is like, I go, but why not just do more interesting things in the setting that's here?
And you can jump around, and the combat's really exciting, and it's like, yeah, I don't care.
A big part of you know, what Reggie and I were talking about and appreciating in 1 was how quickly this new sci-fi world, like, gets to thinking about the politics and the cultural implications and interplay between all these species and all these fun questions that you would love to explore with a series of spin-offs and books and wild shit.
Dude, okay. So two things. One, I just saw somebody in the chat say Pat just wants Star Trek. Do you know who else just wanted Star Trek? The developers of Mass Effect 1, which is why it has a grain filter and it has a soundtrack that is specifically reminiscent of the next generation. Not only am I saying that because you can tell, but they also said that in multiple interviews. That is the exact goal. Second of which, Andromeda and going to a completely new galaxy is wildly disappointing on a level you probably can't understand, because set up one, every alien that comes with you is set. Okay, what ones did we bring with us? Because you didn't bring all of them. You only brought like most of the Citadel races. Okay, are they making new societies? No, it's just kind of little baby colonies of the old one. Second, do you know how many new aliens you actually find in Mass Effect Andromeda? 2. That's it. Are you ready to engage in a completely new galaxy filled with a new civilization? Guess what? There isn't one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then who gives a shit? Why'd you go to a different What the fuck?
I think, yeah, I'm seeing it as the wording is fucking disco effect, right? That's
oh yeah.
Easy. You could just walk around, talk to people, learn more about this already really interesting society. And, you know, I mean, that's also part of, like, what was immediately appealing with KOTOR as well, was just like, let's, you know, spend time on these planets learning the mundane things, right?
Oh, yeah. So, by the way, somebody confirmed, in Andromeda, there are no Quarians, no Drell, no Hanar, no Elcor, and no Volus.
Council races, lesser races denied.
Literally only the major council races.
Council races only. Huh. Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool. And you still gotta play as a fucking human.
I did not think that's what it was. I thought Andromeda was you as a main character zip to another galaxy and there's a whole bunch of new races and it's just like doing Mass Effect 1 again. I thought it was just like we're doing Mass ME1 and yeah, okay. Damn. All right.
Like crazy missed opportunity. Like embarrassing.
Because I feel like even that would, like, if they had no council races, no new, all new, like that would have been unexpected, but still could be fresh if it was done well.
Yeah. So, you know, this whole conversation makes me think of something like, do you know why you have 2 party members that are human in every game? It's so that the people who don't want to play with space aliens
can just
have an all-human party.
Human party.
And to me, that represents a massive failure of vision, because people who want to play as all humans in a fucking sci-fi game don't give a shit about the fucking sci-fi game.
But if they want to get on the bandwagon of the latest gun shooter thing that's trending and everyone's on it, and they just, god damn it, why is Dante dancing? Why won't anyone tell me what's going on?
Well, you know what, Woolie? You know what they
those
say.
people,
at the
their
end,
money is green too.
At the end of the day, we're all just animals.
That is like, that is one of the most unbelievable retcon. Like, I can't believe the retcon. It's insane.
So hold on,
and
it's not a retcon.
No.
It's not a retcon.
No. Trust me. That is, that can be interpreted as either BioWare retconning it or the in-game cover story being delivered that way by on the news to make her seem like a hero.
They are lionizing
the
Ashley
martyr
in background, and it's like
totally aware of that. That could be a way too, but that is incredible. What a line!
And so here's the thing, right? That moment is the thing that I care about Mass Effect for, which is like this fucking interplay between all these interesting new characters. Like the races they created for Mass Effect are fucking incredible. Like the Krogan are my favorite analog to the fucking Klingons ever. They're great.
Tired warriors are a fucking vibe. I'm so happy that I met another one right away. You know? Like,
yeah.
There's the ones you shoot, but the ones that are tired are really fun to talk to. Yeah, so
Uh,
I'm looking forward to seeing where the fuck it goes, man. But like it's clear the money's in play now. They got the shiny budget, they got the big names, they got a lot more going on in the even when the cutscene camera lighting like kicks on, it's like, some of the hair is not floating off the characters' heads as badly as it used to. And I mean, beyond that, I'm also looking at the size of that party, and I'm like, you barely had time to like really get all the like hanging out with and talking to your party members in one. How the fuck are you going to spend enough time with everybody in this?
so I'm going to answer this in a vague way, but the biggest complaint about Mass Effect 2 is that it feels a little fillery, and the reason why that is also the reason why people love it so much. Finding the gang and hanging out with the gang is literally the entire game.
Okay.
Like,
search for friends.
Like the roster in 2 is fucking gigantic. It's stupid how big the roster is. But 99% of the game is putting the team together.
Okay. I mean, the way it introduces all of those, like, points of interest right off the bat, it does feel like you're like, this is like so in Mass Effect you get your 3 main missions, before you start before you hit Vermeer, and like in this case it feels like it's a big list.
Yeah, no. It's characters, 1 main mission. The other set of characters, the end of the game. And so it actually ends up giving a lot of really great replay value, because you go, well, I actually would have rather hung out with Thane on 80 or 90% of the missions in the game. So next time, I'm just going to go grab him immediately.
Yeah.
And just do everything that I possibly can.
So I landed on the asteroid on Omega, and I met Cable, and I went, we're going back to the ship so I can hang out with Cable. And I just put him on immediately, because I'm like, yeah.
And then you're like, oh no, Cable is one of the DLC characters that did not get the same amount of resources that the other ones did. In that when you go talk to him, he doesn't go into a cutscene. He's just like an NPC.
Okay.
But he does have a loyalty mission, and it is good.
Okay. I like the cut of his jib. Nothing wrong with that.
Hey, let me ask you. You went to Omega, right?
Yep.
Did you meet a Vorcha?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
If you think that Batarians
are they the bats?
They are the freak demon assholes. Yeah.
The morbing aliens? Yeah.
So, like, I feel like they were invented to be fodder evil.
To be shot. Like, I was okay. That race, I said it immediately. I'm like, this is such a disappointing... Like, it sucks when you meet, like, exactly, you meet putties, And you're like, I'm talking to putties right now. Like, they're... And I'm like, it would be great if you walked away from that first guy and met one who was like, oh, that guy's weird. We're not all like that.
No. They live for 2 years and they're fucking evil and you can kill them.
Yeah.
No guilt.
Yeah.
No guilt.
I feel like I'm like, damn it, like it's a fodder. I can feel the fodder of that evil monster race. And it's like, don't do that. Don't do that.
So hey,
give me a real race.
You remember when you fought those robots in the intro, and that was like a cool new robot enemy?
Oh, in the lab, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're gonna go through Mass Effect 2, and I want you to pay attention to how many enemies that you fight are either robots or mercenaries. Specifically, it's something like 99% of the enemy roster is those robots or mercenaries of some kind.
I mean, in 1, you're shooting cultists, you're shooting scientists out of control. Whole lot of, like, 3 types of zombies, really.
Yeah.
Right? You've got like 3 like different kinds of space zombification. And then a handful of Thresher Maws and yada yada. But anyway, yeah, the fucking goblins that are introducing themselves as a new race, and I'm like, oh my god, man.
This is what it's like outside of Council Space, man. Batarians and fucking Vorcha. Do you want to live out here?
At bare minimum, I think all races, not all, like at bare minimum, all races, you should be able to see like what the extremes of like a, like, I guess the you know, the Paragon or Renegade like idea of what they could be.
Yeah,
like, if
I
they're
don't
a race
think there's even a Vorcha with like a name ever.
That's it. I'm like, if the race dictates that you can only be, like, for example, so far Batarians are scumbag assholes, but they're like merchant assholes that are like trying to sell slaves, and they're kind of just like business oriented while being pieces of shit. So like you'll get a range of, hey man, let's just talk and talk about our greed, and I want a deal, you want a deal, maybe we can barter while I'm a piece of shit, all the way to let's crack that planet open, I'm an evil piece of shit. And at least there's a range there, you know? I need to meet more of them, but like the way they're just like
it's absurd. It's totally ridiculous.
All right. Anyway, let's see where it goes.